Welcome back, everyone, to our playthrough of career mode using NASCAR Heat Evolution in preparation for the upcoming NASCAR Heat 2 release in September. So here we are, ready for our 12th race of the season, and our most recent race, race number 11 at Kansas, could not have gone any better. We started up front, we finished up front. We got our second victory of the year. That now, if you look in the top left-hand corner of the screen, you'll see our chase standing is now third with our 2 wins. So hard to imagine things going much better. We're definitely having our ups and downs, and I kind of like that. I've mentioned in previous videos that I like the struggle of having to start from the very back with nothing and having to improve your team, improve everything about your team and car in order to fight your way up through the field. Because it means that once you actually get to the point where you can get top 10s and top 5s and compete for wins, those wins mean more. Those top 5s mean more when you have to really work hard for them. Now, in our case, we've gotten 2 wins off the bat, which is great for the point standings and giving us an opportunity to race for a championship in our first year. But it's a little worrisome. The part that really comes back on the other side for me and brings me back to being okay with it is the fact that we're not doing that at every track. We're not going to every track starting up front and winning races. And that's evidence if we take a look at our schedule. You look at our most recent races. All right, we come back. Kansas, we finished first. Then we go back to Talladega. We couldn't even get in the top half of the field. Same thing at Richmond. We barely made top half of the field. And then we go to Bristol, where we got our very first victory. So you can see there's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of roller coaster riding so far. So let's see what's ahead of us. All right, so we're headed to Dover next, okay, which should be very interesting. Dover is a great track. It is a huge track for racing because it is so line sensitive. The speeds are enormous there, and it should be a lot of fun. We'll see how it goes. Then you go to Charlotte, Pocono, and Michigan. That is horsepower, horsepower, and horsepower. You cannot get enough horsepower for these 3 tracks. So also, if you look at Charlotte, for an example, it's a 1.5 mile track, and we have been all over the place on 1.5 miles so far this year. You know, we started off at Atlanta with a top 10. Then we go to Texas, and we can't even compete at Texas. We are much slower than a top 10 at Texas. Then we go to Kansas, and of course, we pull off the victory, and really we're pulling away from the crowd there. So we're all over the place. It's impossible for me to have any idea where to think and expect that we're going to measure up as we get to these tracks ahead of time. So instead of wasting time trying to figure that out on my own, let's just get to it. Let's head to Dover.
Get set. The race is going green. There's the green flag. Car high.
All right, here we go, folks. We are at Dover, and once again, we are on the pole. In fact, we were on the pole by about 1/10.5, roughly. I ran about a 59, and the nearest competitor ran like a 63, something like that. All right, but let's see what we got in the race. That's what really matters, because that's where the points get paid and the money gets paid. And already we've got, looks like that's Junior.
Still there. All clear.
On our inside. And you can see I'm not off the gas very much at all.
Car low.
Woo!
All clear.
Watch out.
Car low.
Yeah, we're not off the gas very much at all. I'm trying to keep him pinched down, but looks like he is faster than us. Driving it in very deep. Again, the idea is to try to keep him pinched down on the bottom so that he can't let it flow up off the corners.
You're all clear. Car low.
Basically, I'm off the gas just long enough to let the car set, and then I'm right back on it.
All clear.
Sometimes, I mean, basically, it doesn't even feel like the car is taking a set most of the time. I just have to force myself to get back on it. All right, let's see what we can do here. Looks like Logano is going to work his way into second.
That was a great lap.
Junior is falling back a little bit. All right. This should give us an opportunity with some clean track here and nobody in our immediate area as they fight it out for second place back there. Let's run some good laps and see if we can't build a lead here.
That was a great lap. That was a great lap.
Ooh, we do not want to get down on that apron. That is for sure. At this point, though, I'm kind of experimenting a little bit. I want to see how deep into the corner I can drive it, how quickly I can get back to the throttle, what line I can run. You know, can I hold, in other words, can I hold it down, drive it in as deep on the bottom as I can, middle or upper part of the track? Because the few laps I ran in practice, I say few, I don't know how many time laps I actually ran, probably 6, 7, maybe 8. Not that many. That's actually more than I usually run before these races. But I had to spend my time basically on the upper end of the track, going around cars. All right, so we just got the word for 20 to go. And this car basically just feels glued to the racetrack right now. I mean, it almost feels like we're on rails. I'm not using any brake whatsoever. In fact, my foot is not even near the brake right now. So if I had to, I'd be in trouble. And as far as I'm concerned, we can run these next, whatever it is, by now 18, 19 laps. We can run them without ever seeing a lap car in front of us. That was some great racing with Junior there for the first few laps. All right, let's go ahead and, now that I know this exists, once again, thank you to the comments section for those of you who pitch in and throw out ideas. They are welcome and much appreciated. We are 1.5 seconds ahead of second place right now. If you look in the rearview mirror, it looks like we're much farther ahead than that. All right, 17 laps to go. The interesting thing here is we're 1.5 seconds ahead, which means that these guys, and the lead isn't growing all that much per lap. So these guys are running pretty close lap times to me, maybe a half a tenth or so difference lap to lap, so not much. In fact, I think most of the difference in why I'm as far ahead as I am at this point in the race is because they're fighting for position. Something tells me that if they get single file, they can hunt me back down.
There's a wreck in turn 2.
Oh, we got a wreck up here. And because I have cautions turned off, let's see, I'm going to try to be very careful. He comes right up in front of me there.
Still there.
Try to be very careful with the AI. If you remember it back at Kansas, we had a moment there with whatever it was, like a lap or two to go, where
Okay, that's the halfway mark now.
a lap car on the straightaway in the deep-shaped part of the front stretch just inexplicably turned right and got into us. So it's definitely not a given that you're going to win a race. And as you can see on the real-time distances, we are only 1.1 seconds now. We lost about 0.6 of a second there on that one lap, and I don't imagine that's going to get any better. All right, come on, guys, give us some room up here.
Still there.
Again, I'm trying to be very, very careful with these guys. I'm going to lift out of it here a little bit. Okay, so they're going to give me the top. At least it looks like all of them are. I'm going to drive it in there. Hopefully, by driving it in deeper than them, I can clear them before we get to corner exit. Ooh, look out.
Car low. Clear low.
Hardest thing to do whenever you're dealing with AI like this is to keep your rhythm. I spend most of my time watching the AI cars and I end up missing my marks because I'm worried. Ooh, we came up on the 44 car very quickly there.
Still there.
Glad he gave us some room. All right, so we're only just over a half second ahead of second place now. Jamie McMurray is hunting us down. And I missed that call. Was it 10 laps to go? All right, let's try the bottom.
All clear.
All right, driving in real hard, clear the car, and then let it drift up a little bit. Ooh, now we're back to 1.5 and growing. All right, so they're having to go through the same traffic as I am. So they seem to be having just as rough a time as I am with it. Again, the key thing with lap traffic in designing a game with AI is if you can just make the cars consistent in where they drive on the track. I don't care if a car is high or low, I just want it to be the same place each time I get there. So if he's running high, don't make him all of a sudden decide mid-corner to go low, or vice versa. All right, he's going to give me the high side. The number 93, I'm not sure about.
All clear.
There we go. Gave us plenty of room there. Let's see about Kane here. Is he going to give us room on the high side? Not sure. Yeah, he gave us a little bit of room up here.
Still there.
All right, so far so good. For the most part, we've still got our 1.5 second lead. This time it's over Brad Keselowski. So if those guys want to continue and fight for the next 6 laps now that we have to go, that'll be perfectly fine. Alright, so we've lapped up to 27th place just in a very few number of laps. Makes you wonder, if you ran a full race with these guys, would you be able to lap the entire field?
Still there. All clear.
I mean, we are now about 3 seconds ahead. Alright, I'm going to really back it off here behind these 2 cars. Again, I don't trust the AI whenever they're fighting for position with each other, because they generally don't tend to give me a lot of room when they're doing that. So I'm going to pedal this thing a little bit. They don't give bonus points for what your margin of victory is, so I don't really care a whole lot about that. Alright, so not bad. Give us a little bit of room. Definitely not too much, that's for sure. But they're giving me enough.
Stay high. Still there. You're all clear. Here you go.
Alright, well, so we're still just under 3 second lead on the second place car, which now is McMurray once again. Looks like there are about 3 cars back there. Logano, McMurray, and Keselowski that are duking it out. Alright, so here we are, last lap. And no lap cars in our immediate vicinity, so I'm liking that. And all right, we did it.
Great job.
All right, excellent. Excellent. Boy, I love that. A 97 speed rating, which still seems a bit high, quite frankly, given how far we have to upgrade our car. But nonetheless, we will take it and not worry too much about that. We are very happy to have this victory. Let's go ahead and continue on. So we win by roughly 3 seconds, I think, somewhere around that number. All right, let's see what kind of money we get. 36.5 for the victory. And we're going to pick up another 5 grand from the primary sponsors, 7 grand and 12 grand respectively for our secondary sponsors. A total winnings of $60,500. I can definitely take that. That is very nice. If we continue on like this, getting these nice finishes, then I'm going to have to change the secondary sponsors. For now, I'm going to leave them as is because, again, just as I talked about at the beginning of the video, you know, we go to one place and we're contending for victory. We go to the next place and we're struggling for a top 20. So we'll have to take a look at the secondary sponsors, see how it can work out. But for right now, I am absolutely thrilled. We're still in 11th place as far as points go, but we'll have to take a look when we get back at, we'll pick up our trophy. Always nice to get Miles the Monster. All right, so quick lap 24.4, and that was actually a good bit quicker than what I qualified. So always nice to be running laps in the race quicker than you qualify. All right, let's take a look at both the standings. All right, keep in mind, we're headed to Charlotte next. See, I think I'm starting to see a few fans wearing the Knee Pit Gaming gear. Indeed. Well, 3 wins in a season can do that for you, particularly back-to-back victories that we've now had. So that should be interesting. Let's take a look at the standings and see where we are. All right, so point standings, again, we're in 11th, but that's not what we're concerned about. We are now concerned with the chase standings. We are now tied with Keselowski at the top with 3 victories each. Of course, he is crushing us on points. So we're going to have to beat him outright on victories if we want to finish the regular season in first. But the good news is we're only really racing right now 7 drivers or 6 other drivers in the chase standings, because those are the ones with victories. We could finish no worse in points than 7th, and because of our wins right now, we can finish no worse than 2nd. But you got to figure that some more guys are going to get multiple wins, and probably at least one other, maybe Kyle Busch, can get up to 3 victories. So should be interesting to see where we are. Again, right now we're trying to continue to mount up the money. With that in mind, let's take a look. We're at the bank now with 142,000. Let's go to the team. We already know the engine shop is 100 grand. So we're going to go ahead and purchase that. Yes, please. All right, now we can get an idea. All right, machine shop. Wow, $800,000. Okay, that's going to be a while. Let's see, engine specialist, 200 grand. And that gets us another 2.1% improvement on the horsepower. And then 350 grand. Wow. I mean, think back to what we had in the far left-hand column where we were looking at 20 and 30,000 for each upgrade. Now we're looking at 200 grand, 350 grand. But look at that, another 2.25% grip improvement, 500 grand. Wow. These are huge numbers. 3% airflow improvement, and then computer control gets us 2.8% horsepower. So we're going to get a lot of horsepower improvements here, as you would expect out of an engine shop. And then I can only imagine what the money looks like on the engine shop column. I mean, it's 800 grand just to open up this column. Wow, this is outright amazing. But the good news is, by the time we get through with this column and get ready to look ahead to the machine shop, we should have a car that is a good bit better. I mean, we're not talking about a 0.5% horsepower or grip improvement now. We're talking 2.1, 2.25, 3%, 2.8. I mean, these are good sized numbers that we're dealing with now. So, wow, this is pretty amazing. I'm particularly floored by the amount of money that it's going to take to get there. Again, what's it going to be when we get to the fabrication shop? The fab shop could be, $1.5 million just to unlock it. Who knows? But right now, I'm pretty excited. We got 42 grand in the bank. Even after that upgrade, we're going to need 200 grand to get to the next step. So coming up in our next video, join me when we will be headed to Charlotte. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned for more NASCAR Heat Evolution.